The first rays of Aelion's twin suns pierced the violet haze of the horizon, spilling golden light over the crystalline city below. The world had changed since Elias and Elora arrived. The scars of doubt, fear, and ancient prejudice lingered in every corner, yet a fragile sense of hope threaded through the air. As dawn painted the sky, the planet itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see if the newcomers would prove themselves worthy of trust or become yet another story of cosmic failure. Elias stood on the ridge above the city, surveying the awakening streets. Light shimmered on floating spires and waterfalls of radiant energy, the alien architecture both alien and strangely familiar. The people stirred below, cautious eyes peering from behind translucent walls and crystal gates. Some watched with curiosity, others with suspicion, their gazes sharp, their postures defensive. The lessons of centuries of conflict had made Aelion wary of outsiders, no matter how benevolent. Elias tightened his jaw. "We've come this far," he whispered to himself, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Behind him, Elora emerged from the starship's ramp, her silver hair catching the morning light, her aura glowing faintly as if to signal peace. She joined him on the ridge, standing silently beside him. The bond between them had been tested through nebula storms, cosmic tempests, and the harsh judgments of alien societies, yet now it was stronger than ever. Without words, their presence together projected unity, calm, and unwavering determination. As they watched the city, a low hum echoed through the crystalline towers, a signal that the Council of Aelion had convened. It was time to face the formalities, the ritual of acceptance, and the delicate negotiations that could determine whether this world would open its doors or close them forever. Elias adjusted the strap of his energy harness and took a deep breath. He knew that trust would not come easily. Fear, after all, had been woven into the very bones of this civilization. Descending the ridge, they approached the central plaza where the city's council awaited. The air was thick with tension. The council members, robed in luminescent garments that reflected their status and wisdom, formed a semicircle around the platform. Their faces were unreadable, alien in structure yet expressive, conveying the weight of judgment, curiosity, and doubt. Whispers ran through the gathered crowd. Even the wind seemed to carry skepticism. Elora stepped forward first, her voice gentle yet resonant. "We do not come as conquerors," she said, the light of her aura subtly shifting to communicate sincerity. "We are travelers like many who came before us. We seek only understanding, unity, and the opportunity to help this world flourish." A council member, a tall figure with translucent skin and eyes like liquid crystal, leaned forward. "And why should we trust you?" His tone was measured, almost melodic, but it carried the unmistakable edge of accusation. "You arrive from the stars bringing unknown energy. Your history is intertwined with cosmic phenomena we barely comprehend. How do we know your intentions are pure?" Elias stepped forward beside Elora. "Because we have faced what few can imagine. We have survived storms that could unravel the very fabric of existence, and we are here because we chose to protect life, not destroy it. Actions, not words, define trust. Allow us the chance to show you." A ripple of murmurs ran through the crowd. Some inclined their heads slightly, curious or hopeful. Others recoiled, unconvinced. The council conferred silently, exchanging glances that flickered with emotion, doubt, skepticism, cautious interest. The challenge was clear. Elias and Elora must demonstrate the power of their unity and benevolence, not merely declare it. The first test arrived unexpectedly. From the eastern sky, a plume of smoke and light signaled a disturbance in the lower districts. A faction of citizens, resistant to change, had gathered around a fractured energy conduit, a vital structure that maintained part of the city's power grid. Their agitation was growing, their fear manifesting as anger. If left unchecked, they could escalate the conflict, turning suspicion into chaos. Elias and Elora moved swiftly, weaving through the streets with calm precision. Elora extended her hands, channeling veil energy to stabilize the conduit, while Elias coordinated with the local engineers, communicating gestures and subtle signals that transcended language. The gathered crowd watched silently, some with awe, some with doubt. When the conduit's light stabilized, a collective exhale seemed to sweep through the plaza. Small victories, Elias knew, often paved the way for larger acceptance. Yet even in this success, the seeds of tension remained. Council members whispered among themselves, debating what they had just witnessed. Acceptance would not be immediate. There were deeper fears, ancient rivalries, historical trauma, and a suspicion that outsiders, even benevolent ones, could catalyze chaos. Elias felt the weight of history pressing on him, a reminder that winning trust required more than courage. It required patience, humility, and sacrifice. That night, Elias and Elora returned to their ship, overlooking the city from a high plateau. The twin moons rose, casting silver and violet light over crystalline spires. They sat together, shoulders brushing lightly, the silence between them filled with shared contemplation. "Do you think they'll ever truly accept us?" Elias asked softly, watching the flickering lights below. Elora placed a hand on his arm. "Acceptance is earned, not given," she replied. "They will see our intentions through what we do, not just what we say. And even if some resist forever, we've planted seeds of hope. That alone changes the course of this world." As the night deepened, a shadow moved in the distance, subtle, almost imperceptible, yet undeniably watching. A faction within the city had not forgotten the old prejudices, and their plans were already in motion. Elias and Elora were unaware that the delicate peace they fought to maintain was about to be tested in ways neither had anticipated, and that the dawn of a new era for Aelion could bring both salvation and peril in equal measure. The shadow that had moved silently through the city revealed itself with a deliberate sweep of movement. From the upper balconies of the crystalline towers, figures cloaked in muted silver robes emerged, their eyes glowing faintly as if infused with the residue of veil energy. These were the dissenters, a faction unwilling to accept Elias and Elora's presence, fearing the disruption of centuries-old traditions. Whispers ran through the streets like rippling water, spreading doubt, tension, and uncertainty. Elias sensed the disturbance even before he saw it. The air vibrated subtly, the residual veil energy responding to hostility. He turned to Elora, whose aura flared in recognition. "They're organizing," he said, his voice low but steady. "We need to act carefully, show strength but not dominance. They must see we come as allies, not conquerors." Elora nodded, her hand brushing his arm briefly for reassurance. "We can do this, together." Her words carried the calm authority that had guided them through nebula storms, cosmic vortices, and alien predators. If anyone could navigate this new challenge, it was them. The dissenters moved with precision, descending into the central plaza where the council had convened earlier. Their leader, a tall figure whose translucent skin shimmered with a deep amethyst hue, stepped forward. His presence alone commanded attention, a natural authority born of intellect and charisma. He raised a hand, and silence fell over the crowd. "People of Aelion," he began, his voice echoing melodiously through the plaza. "We face a choice. Outsiders have arrived, bringing unknown powers and intentions. Do we risk our traditions, our safety, our very way of life for promises we cannot yet verify?" A murmur of agreement and apprehension swept through the citizens. The council members exchanged uneasy glances, some faltering under the weight of the dissenters' persuasive rhetoric. Elias felt the tension tighten like a living entity around them, aware that any misstep could ignite a confrontation. Stepping forward, Elias raised his hands in a gesture of peace. "I understand your fear," he said, voice strong yet empathetic. "We do not seek to erase your history or your ways. We are here to learn, to protect, and to unite. You may doubt our intentions, but allow us to demonstrate them through action, not argument." Elora's light flared brighter, illuminating the plaza with a soft glow. "We have survived storms that could have torn us apart," she added. "We have seen worlds fall and rise. We know the cost of fear and hesitation. If you allow us, We will show you that cooperation and understanding can flourish even where doubt lingers." A hush fell over the crowd. The dissenters' leader inclined his head slightly, intrigued by their courage, though not yet convinced. "Very well," he said slowly. "We will allow a demonstration. But know this. Should you fail, you will face the full judgment of Aelion's law and its people." The demonstration was immediate. A malfunction had been reported in the energy grid powering the lower districts. Fires flickered along crystalline conduits, threatening structural damage. Elias and Elora moved swiftly, coordinating with local engineers and Vale Energy to stabilize the infrastructure. As they worked, the dissenters watched closely, assessing every movement, every decision. Elora's hands moved in a fluid motion, weaving streams of Vale energy around the damaged conduits. Sparks of blue and violet intertwined, forming protective barriers that absorbed excess energy and redirected it safely. Elias guided citizens, directing their movements and lending strength where their own energy faltered. The city itself seemed to respond, as if recognizing the union of effort, courage, and empathy. The demonstration concluded without incident. Fires were extinguished, structural integrity restored, and energy grids stabilized. Some citizens clapped tentatively, others simply watched in quiet contemplation. The dissenters whispered among themselves, the leader's eyes narrowing thoughtfully. Elias and Elora had succeeded in action, but acceptance was far from guaranteed. Later, as the sun dipped beneath the horizon, painting the skies with crimson and indigo, Elias and Elora walked along a balcony overlooking the city. The cool evening air carried the scent of alien flora, the faint hum of energy from the city below. "They're still wary," Elias said softly, almost to himself. "The dissenters haven't spoken yet, but their eyes... I can feel the hesitation." Elora took his hand gently. "Trust isn't built overnight," she replied. "We've taken the first step. The next will be harder, but we're ready. We always are." Her gaze met his, calm and determined, reflecting the unwavering bond that had carried them across galaxies and through trials that would have broken lesser souls. That night, a secret council meeting took place beneath the city's crystalline towers. The dissenters strategized in shadows, debating whether Elias and Elora could truly be trusted. Some feared the power they wielded. Others envied the awe and loyalty they inspired among the common citizens. The leader proposed a subtle test, one that would challenge their resolve, courage, and commitment to peaceful coexistence. The test came at dawn. A wild storm, unnatural in its intensity, brewed over the eastern plains. Lightning arced between floating mountains, and torrents of energy threatened settlements on the outskirts. The dissenters intended to watch, to see if Elias and Elora would intervene, and if so, whether they could handle the challenge without catastrophe. Elias and Elora approached the storm, their combined aura cutting through the gloom like a beacon. Citizens looked on with a mixture of fear and hope, some stepping back in uncertainty, others following cautiously, inspired by the calm determination of the pair. The storm roared, twisting the clouds into impossible formations, energy streams sparking in dangerous arcs. It was a trial unlike any before, a direct test of skill, trust, and the strength of their unity. They moved as one. Elias guided the local energy manipulators, creating channels to redirect excess power safely. Elora used Vale energy to stabilize the winds, creating protective corridors and nullifying dangerous arcs. The storm's intensity shifted with every decision they made, testing their coordination, judgment, and patience. Small mistakes could have been catastrophic, yet their bond allowed them to anticipate one another's moves, synchronizing like a single organism. Hours passed, the storm battering them relentlessly, but Elias and Elora persisted. Gradually, the clouds began to dissipate, the violent energy streams calmed, and the plains below showed signs of recovery. Citizens emerged cautiously, witnessing the display of control, empathy, and heroism. The dissenters watched silently, the leader's eyes reflecting reluctant admiration, though his expression remained guarded. By nightfall, the storm had passed entirely. The city breathed again, and a tentative calm settled over Aelion. The dissenters, once firmly opposed, stepped forward individually, some offering nods of acknowledgement, others silently conceding respect. The leader approached Elias and Elora, his voice steady but warmer than before. "You have demonstrated courage and wisdom," he said. "Perhaps there is a place for you among us after all. But know this, trust must continue to be earned. The path ahead will not be easy." Elias nodded, his hand brushing briefly against Elora's. "We understand. We will earn it every day if we must." Elora smiled, her gaze sweeping the city. "And together, we will help this world thrive, despite the fear, despite the doubts." As they stood there, looking out over the city, a feeling of quiet triumph settled between them. They had survived another trial, faced resistance, and emerged stronger for it. Yet in the distance, subtle movements hinted that challenges remained, both from within Aelion and from forces far beyond the stars. The episode ended on a bittersweet note, a fragile alliance secured, trust beginning to grow but shadows lurking in corners unseen. Elias and Elora had won the day, but the journey was far from over. Their love, courage, and determination would continue to be tested as they forged a new destiny on Aelion, a destiny that could shape not just a planet, but the balance of worlds.